Yo, all right, imagine this. You're 10 years old, right? And you're in school.
Yeah.
And let's say your dad is like a lawyer. And not just an average, like he's a solid lawyer. He's partner at his firm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's career day at your school.
Okay.
And your classmate is like 10-year-old Bronny James. Like, how do you feel?
I don't feel shit. I feel like I gotta step my game up.
Do you even invite do you even let your dad know, like, it's career day? Just knowing that is just, when's career day?
Fuck yeah.
I forgot.
Nah, fuck yeah. I'm gonna have my dad come in for both parts. I ain't ashamed, and two, he needs to be. I didn't make your life choices. You made your life choices.
That being said, welcome back to the Next Man Up Sports Podcast. I am one half of the dynamic duo that is Bobby G and Shaka.
How y'all doing?
Episode number 6.
Yes, sir.
All right.
It's gonna be a wild one.
Week 1 in the NFL passing.
Buckle in.
Week 1 in NFL passing, including tonight's Monday night game.
Yes,
exciting finish.
Wild.
Yeah, truly wild finish. Didn't expect that.
Appropriate to Las Vegas. I mean, welcome home, NFL. Welcome to Vegas.
Entertainment capital of the world.
You never know. It's all about the twists and turns out here. It's all about you think you was winning, but the house always wins. You got to take that house money.
For real though. But before we get into recapping all the excitement from this weekend, we want to do something different. We're gonna do every episode as we're gonna introduce our Next Man Up of the week.
This Next Man Up award.
Yeah, you know, somebody who may not be a superstar. It's not gonna be like a Pat. Well, it could be Mahomes, but not usually. We're looking for the unsung heroes from the games, or you know, people who kind of went under the radar and maybe just had a great moment. We want to recognize those dudes. Mm-hmm. So I'll let you go with yours first. Like I'm interested to hear who you selected
for my inaugural Next Man Up of the Week award. I got to go with David Montgomery, running back from the Chicago Bears.
All right.
There were a lot of great storylines this weekend. There were a lot of. We're gonna get into it.
Yeah. But
the thing I love the most, if you guys watch Sunday Night Football, yeah, the Bears got trashed.
Yeah, that they did.
But and we kind of predicted that. We thought as much. Like we're seeing the Rams. We'll get into that, but it was it was David Montgomery for the Bears, running back for the Bears. Man, that kid is good.
Yeah, he played a game.
16 carries, 106 yards, a touchdown. But it wasn't just the stats for me.
Right.
Because we watched the game together. It wasn't just it was how he was running.
Yeah, he ran hard.
Every
time he got the ball.
I think the word I said to you, it was like, this dude is so shifty.
Right.
Like
he's a shorter guy.
He's huge.
He's put together.
Like and to see the cuts that he was making, the holes that he was creating, his patience, his agility. I'm picking David Montgomery as my Next Man Up of the Week because I think after watching that performance, he might be a guy we're talking about at the end of the season that could be contending for the rushing title. If he keeps running like he did last night,
and if
Sunday Night Football
stays in at QB, he can do a lot of handing off.
Oh yeah. So that's my Next Man Up of the Week award goes to David Montgomery, my initial, because I love the way that kid was running last night. And again, I think that if he keeps doing that, if they keep with Andy Dalton, if they keep with that scheme, which we'll get into more of that when we talk about that particular game. David Montgomery might be a guy we're talking about at the end of the year that could be competing for the rushing title.
I can definitely see that.
Who's your Next Man Up award?
With mine is gonna make you laugh and cringe a little bit.
Of course, I mean I expect nothing less.
I went with Tyrod Taylor.
Okay, I can see that.
Reason being, Tyrod's had a rough last few years.
Yeah,
and he was quarterback of the Browns when we drafted Baker. And he got hurt, and Baker came in, and the rest was history. Leaves Cleveland, and he goes to L.A., where they draft Justin Herbert. And
because he was in Buffalo before that,
right?
And got pushed out.
He was the QB responsible for breaking their playoff drought,
right?
And then they draft Josh Allen, and then he gets to L.A., they draft Herbert, and a freak accident, injury, 10 minutes before kickoff, Justin Herbert comes in, and again, the rest is history.
Yeah.
And now with the Houston Texans, and everybody knows what's going on with Deshaun Watson, and everybody knows what's going on in the front office. But like sometimes we forget the front office is one thing, but the 53 guys in that locker room,
right,
they still got to go out there and perform with all of that chaos going on. And like for him, and I know Jacksonville isn't like, they're not world beaters.
Right.
But still, to rally the troops and go out and perform, and like they could easily just pack it in for the whole season because nobody expects them to do anything.
Myself included.
Right. But to come out and all the hype of this game being on the other sideline because you have Trevor Lawrence making his long-awaited debut. Exactly. And Tyrod just came out and said, nah, bro, we get paid too. Yeah. And just put on the show. And yeah, so, Tyrod, shout out. That's my next man up of the week.
All right. I like that because again, like I have no issue with that because, yeah, Tyrod deserves another chance. I'm happy to see that he had a good game. I'm not happy for the team, and I've been very vocal about my opinions and feelings on the Texans.
And that's exactly what I said. We forget sometimes to separate the 53 men.
That not everybody, not everybody is involved in the scandal, right? So yeah, I mean, huge shout out to Tyrod Taylor. I mean, way to take the bull by the horns and do what you need to do. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's a hell of a good point. I can appreciate that.
And with that being said, let's handle the business at hand.
Oh my God!
Kickoff weekend.
Yo, people, did y'all tune in? Did y'all watch the same weekend that we watched?
Crazy.
Holy
weekend.
Shit!
Crazy weekend to say the least.
I mean, whether it was the upsets, whether it was like the random storylines or the dudes going off that like nobody saw coming. Right. I appreciate the close friends I have that tune into this, but I was getting my phone was blowing up with people being like, "Yo, good luck, good luck on your show." Like, how are y'all gonna cover all of that? So let's jump right into the meat of it, man.
Who we got first?
Well, we got to talk. In my opinion, I feel like we got to talk about what should have been, and this is no disrespect to the Raiders or the Ravens, but what in my opinion should have been the Monday Night Football game, like the marquee game of the week. And it lived up to its billing regardless of its time slot. Right. Was the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Cleveland Browns. Yeah. That was a game that you had the weirdest goddamn prediction where you were like, yo, I really want my team to win this game, but I hope that they lose it. But I don't want them to lose by too much. It was like the weirdest shit. And ironically, it was like I called the game. I had it 35-31 Kansas City. And it ended up being 33-29 Kansas City. Yeah. So I was 100% right on the 4-point difference. I'm like, I was telling you, as I was telling them, I'm like, it's going to be a close goddamn game. Right. Like, it's going to come down to the wire. And then we watched it. And it didn't look like it was going to be a close game. When y'all were up 22-10, I thought it was going to be a runaway. I was like, the Browns, like, I was hyped. Because I was getting ready to come on this mic and talk shit to you about your fucking team and be like, yo, I told y'all are nice. Like,
I never said we weren't nice.
No, but I wanted that blowout. I wanted it to be like, no, the Browns are the new standard because I've been unfortunately hyping them while you shit on my team. I'm like, oh, the Browns are good. And every time I bring up the Broncos, you're like, oh, they're terrible. I'm like, fuck you. But no, like, yeah, even at that, up 22-10, and then Patrick Mahomes just started doing Patrick Mahomes shit.
Yeah, and with our help,
I'll let you take this game because this is your team. This is the Browns, and I want to hear your take on the Browns from a Browns fan, from a Browns perspective. I know you're going to come at it from just an objective point of view, but you still have a stake in the game when it comes to this. So I want to hear how you felt about the Kansas City versus Cleveland.
A lot of the talking heads over the summer, all of the conversation is basically, is Baker Mayfield going to be able to take the next step? Is he just going to be kind of what people like to call a game manager, average QB, or can he actually take steps towards being an elite quarterback? Right. Is it the running game? Can he make plays when he needs to? And I think we kind of saw a combination of both, and a little bit of just plain old bad luck. Like, watching the game, like, we literally controlled the game from opening kickoff to about mid-third quarter. Mm-hmm. We ran the ball at will, which is what we do. We outgained them by almost 80 yards on the ground, threw for over 300 yards. We're scoring on every possession. We didn't attempt to punt until the fourth quarter of the game. Mm. And it's like we just kind of let a couple of mistakes snowball into giving Kansas City control of the game. And once you get in control of the game, it's hard to come back. Everybody will key in on the interception at the end of the game. Which Baker was trying to scramble and throw the ball away. He gets tripped up. It goes right to a Kansas City defender. But for me, the turning point of the game was the Nick Chubb fumble. Nick Chubb rarely fumbles. He's one of the more secure-handed running back or sure-handed running backs in the league. And just like you say, we were up 22-10. KC goes down and scores 22-17, and then we're driving back cross midfield, and then we get the fumble, which gives them the ball back. Then they go up 24-20, 22. And it was just, I think that pressure got to everybody's trying to force stuff instead of playing how they played the first 40 minutes of the game, like 45 minutes of the game. But they are not, the Kansas City is a better team right now. They are not
I don't think
that far. They're not that far ahead of us.
I don't think that they are. And that's the crazy part about it. Like, I wanted to hear your whole take on it. And I'm like, I'm going to literally hate myself for saying this shit. Because you've done nothing but shit on the Broncos. And I keep just...
I just said you don't have a quarterback.
I keep backing the Browns. We'll get into that. Yes, we do. Well, I'll get into that. But it's like, I keep backing the Browns. I thought that y'all played down, in my honest opinion. And that's where I was like, why I had the Browns as my number 2 team in my power rankings. And that hasn't changed. Okay. It actually, technically, let me I'm not doing a full update.
Okay.
But after this, because I don't like these, drastic week 1, everybody's like, oh, let's sell the farm because the team either did bad or did good. We'll get into like the Packers, for example. And it's like, it was one bad game, a really, really bad game, but one game. It's week 1, guys.
Yeah.
For me, the only adjustment in my power rankings is that, and this is going to sound weird to people, I'm just going to talk about my top 2 flipped. And that I had Tampa Bay number 1 and Cleveland number 2. I think Cleveland's number 1 and Tampa Bay's number 2. That's and strong. The Chiefs are still 3rd. Okay. And that's with the Chiefs beating the Browns. Because I watched that Browns game with you. And I was like, this Browns team is a beast. Yeah. And I loved how Stefanski came out. And I wish that they'd have kept that.
A perfect game.
I wish No, he didn't. In my opinion, he didn't. He almost did. If he'd kept that same level of aggression he had on the first drive, I'm going to go for 4th down against the Chiefs. I'm going to score a touchdown. And then fuck you, I'm going for 2 points. Right. I'm going to go up 8-0 to start the game. Fuck 7-0. Like, that extra, if they'd kept that mentality throughout the entire game. But I also think that that's, again, why they pulled back off the brakes. And, people, don't forget, they only lost to Kansas City by 4 after holding that big lead and dominating the game without Odell.
Yeah, Odell didn't play.
He was a game-time scratch. Yeah.
And
so I'm like, so that's just another level that the Browns can get to. But is that you have
Anthony Schwartz, boy.
Oh my God, that boy balled out. Yeah. That boy balled out. I'm not going to take nothing away from him.
Clean, because he had the one catch. If he catches that clean, he's gone. Yeah, we scored on the drive anyway, but he adds now. Even if say Odell misses extended time. Now we have another playmaker to put out there to free up.
Oh, and that boy's fast.
Underneath.
Right? Oh, and that boy's fast.
Yeah, and he's got world track speed. Yeah, like he's a track runner.
So again, even though y'all lost that game, I felt like, in a weird way, I understood what you were saying. Like, you wanted the game to be close. You wanted to see how you guys did against the measuring stick, which is the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. I feel like y'all have the potential, and you showed it, to be light years ahead of them, which is a scary concept.
A lot on defense. We made a lot of bonehead mistakes.
Oh my God, the offsides. The offsides were killing y'all. Yeah. It felt like every other play y'all were jumping the count.
Yeah, lots of holes in the zone, and I can't say whether that was guys getting that chemistry together or Ronnie Harrison getting ejected, our starting safety gets ejected from the game, like first quarter, like
Yeah.
so you can't really. But all that being said, this is the best offense you're going to see all season.
Right.
So again, I little tidbits I like. We were able to get a little bit of pressure from him. He was getting the ball off quick.
I'm gonna keep saying this to everybody listening in, everybody tuning in. My man Bobby is the most diehard Cleveland Browns fan on the planet. I don't care about anybody in Cleveland. You're not more of a Browns fan than my man Bobby G. But I'm gonna keep saying this. He's a little stitious.
I am. And
he's not superstitious
for the game.
He doesn't want to like overextend how hype he is about his team. So I'll do it for him. He ain't gonna do it for mine. I'm gonna do it for his. Y'all are gonna be fucking nice. If that's what y'all did, if that's what y'all did week 1 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. As I was saying in my power rankings, the Browns are a dangerous goddamn team.
We got a few dubs coming up. In particular, next week we got.
In my opinion, the Browns are now the number 1 team in the league. I don't care that the Browns lost. The way that they lost, as ironic as this sounds, made the Browns the number 1 team in the league, in my opinion. So moving on, let's talk because if I'm gonna be this high on the Browns and now they're 0-1, they have to go up against a division rival who won the division last year in the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Pittsburgh Steelers went up against the Buffalo Bills, who both of us had as number 3. I believe it all. Yeah. You had them. You had them Buffalo 3. I had them at 4.
Yeah.
But the Buffalo Bills, everybody, they were Super Bowl contenders, Super Bowl favorites. They're at home playing against Pittsburgh Steelers with that supposedly depleted offensive line or whatever. But the Pittsburgh Steelers managed to eke out a win. They eked out a win against the Buffalo Bills. What are your thoughts on your division rival winning a game that both of us called as a loss for them? Like both of us had them losing to Buffalo. I feel like the world had them losing to Buffalo.
It boils down to the reason I told you I had Pittsburgh in my top 10 power rankings. It's Mike Tomlin. That defense. Mm-hmm. Like Mike Tomlin's always been, he was a defense coordinator before being a head coach. He's a defensive guy, especially secondary. Because if you look at the game, like Roethlisberger was 18-32 for under 200 yards and 1 touchdown. Najee Harris, 16 carries, 45 yards, 2.8 average. So offensively, didn't kill him. That defense, once they got down 16-0, and that was it. Defense turned up after that, and it was just like chip away, and that's what Tomlin teams can do. Mm-hmm. If you allow them to hang around, they will make little plays to get themselves back in the game.
So are you concerned as a Browns fan? Are you concerned about what you saw from the Steelers in week 1 against the Bills?
No, we will blow Pittsburgh out.
Finally, we get some fucking confidence about the Browns. No, God damn it. It's only taken 5 fucking episodes.
I always had confidence about the Browns, but Pittsburgh's not in that. They're not elite anymore.
They're not.
And I never said they were elite. Just because I think they'll make the playoffs doesn't mean they're elite. They're a playoff level team, but we've taken kind of a step beyond that now. But yeah, we and I'll give Buffalo the benefit of the doubt. Mm. First game, they came out, jump out to the good lead. You get the big head, and then it's like, oh. We're in a real game.
Yeah.
You try and get back in that rhythm, you just can't. Right at the end of the season, will Pittsburgh be better than Buffalo? Absolutely not.
No.
But
I put it more personally when again that was the whole thing. We watched all the games. I put that more as, and I'm not saying. I gotta say this. I'm sorry. There's a lot of different sentences I didn't complete. Shout out to my guy Brandon. He's the only Steelers fan that hit me up that I feel like, calling out by name.
Yeah, and sorry, Brandon, I meant when I said the Browns will blow the Steelers out.
Yeah,
that game ain't gonna be close.
Yeah, Brandon, I'm sorry too because it's facts. But this is what I love about doing this was that the second, and I mean the literal second that it went final, that the Steelers beat the Bills, I had a phone call coming in from a Steelers fan like, "Oh, you was talking shit about my team," and I'm like, "Yeah, congrats on the win. Y'all still gonna suck." So I'm still standing by that. Brandon, I love you to death, but and all Steelers fans, you're not gonna make the playoffs. Enjoy the win. It's a huge win. But again, even at that, I wasn't impressed by it. I feel like it was more of a Buffalo loss than a Pittsburgh win.
Exactly. Yeah. You go down the line with this. Total yards, Buffalo 371, Pittsburgh 252. Passing yards 254, Buffalo, Pittsburgh 177. Rushing yards, Buffalo 117, Pittsburgh 75. Yards per play, Buffalo 4.7, Pittsburgh 4.6. First downs, 22-16, but like everything.
Yeah, it was
third down, 8 for 18 from Buffalo, 4 for 12. Everything about this game
should have been a Buffalo win. Yeah,
but
that Mike Tomlin effect that you always talk about. It was like it should have been a Buffalo win.
Yeah,
but the Steelers have an ace in the hole, and that they have Mike Tomlin,
and
who
they had
understands.
the one turnover. Buffalo had the one turnover.
So I mean, I completely get it. For my Pittsburgh fans out there, enjoy the win. It's going to be a rough season. I still think Pittsburgh wins at least 10 games, but you're not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I still think they get in the playoffs.
I just still don't. I still have them on the outside looking in. This is a huge win for them.
Absolutely.
When it comes late in the season, when we're talking about playoffs,
jockeying for position.
This is going to be a huge fucking win for them.
Because it's a de facto 2-game lead.
Yeah. So, I mean, congrats to the Pittsburgh Steelers for pulling out that victory. I didn't think that they would. But let's talk about a team that nobody thought was winning this weekend. Outside of their locker room. It was the biggest topic in the offseason. It was the biggest topic going into the season. Everybody, ourselves included, thought it was a foregone conclusion how week 1 would go.
Yeah.
And the New Orleans Saints decided to throw a giant middle finger to the world. Like, we're dealing with a hurricane, and y'all bringing a new hurricane and Aaron Rodgers to us. Fuck you both. Let's talk about the New Orleans Saints smacking the dog shit out of the Green Bay Packers, giving Aaron Rodgers his worst loss as a quarterback in his career.
Yeah, shout out Sergeant Snowcone. That's my guy down there in Louisiana.
Sergeant Snow.
I was this close to picking them as my next man up of the week as a whole.
Was
the Saints?
The Saints,
because that's a lot to like you said. You get displaced from your home. You not only have to worry about your job, you got to worry about your family. All kinds of chaos going on. Now your game is moved to a completely different state.
Right.
Like there was a lot of built-in excuses for them again to pack it in and be like,
you don't have Michael Thomas, you don't have Drew Brees, you don't have the Superdome.
Like, you don't know how many people showed up to the game. Like, it was like 14, 16,000.
Yeah, they had like 60,000 empty seats.
Yeah, and more Green Bay fans than Saints fans.
Yeah, and it was a rout.
Yeah,
like it wasn't even close.
Yeah, like they did the damn thing.
So
Jameis.
So we've had different opinions throughout the offseason, especially once even on that's recorded that on previous episodes. Y'all can go back and check them. Well, I've not been as high as the Packers as you have, especially because I'm like Aaron Rodgers he ain't gonna play like the way he's supposed to. Like Aaron Rodgers he chalked it up, and you've been arguing against that.
Yeah.
Do you think I have any credibility to my thoughts on Aaron Rodgers after that abysmal performance?
No,
because he looked like he was throwing the game, and I love Aaron Rodgers. He looked like he just didn't give a shit.
Here's why. Yeah, Drew Brees is gone, and even though I still don't think the Saints are going to have that great of a season, the people that stepped up is that defense. That defense was the top 5 defense last season. They shout out to Marshawn Lattimore, just got an extension.
Yeah,
but their secondary is legit. Their pass rushers are legit. Even though they lost Trey Henderson, you still got Jordan.
Cam Jordan. Yeah,
their defense stepped up because offensively they didn't do fantastic. They just controlled the game.
Yeah, they have like the bullshit stat that like, because again, this is the second shot. I'm giving 2 shout outs in one episode to my guy Brandon, because he's apparently high on Jameis Winston, and he was like, "Oh, he's gonna be good," and I'm like, and then I was looking at ESPN, and they're like, "Oh, Jameis Winston erupts for 5 touchdowns." Erupts?
Yeah.
Erupts for 5 touchdowns?
Yeah.
He had 148 passing yards. That's is people. Jameis Winston is just apparently he wants to be the connoisseur of obscure records. And that he's the only quarterback in NFL history to have 30 touchdown passes and 30 interceptions in the same season. And now he's the first quarterback since 1949 to have 5 touchdown passes on less than 150 yards passing.
Yeah. I'll take that record any day. Pay me.
So yeah, I mean he showed his worth, but
I mean he executed.
So to me, I feel like that's more of a mistake on the Packers because they kept putting him in short yardage situations where it's like you can rack up 5 touchdowns on 150 yards passing because it's like you're only having to throw the ball 20, 30 yards.
I would give more credit to Sean Payton actually because he ran the ball almost 40 times.
Yeah. Okay.
And so he completely had to adjust the way he called plays. And that was a big question for me. It was like, he's, for the last few years, Drew Brees has been hurt, but in the back of your mind, I'm getting him back. So I just got to weather these 4, 5, 6 games, whatever. Drew ain't coming back. So now
Michael Thomas is out.
Right. You have to adjust the entire way you coach. And
so do you like that? Because I remember you making a comment on the previous episode you wanted to see if Sean Payton coach.
Right. It was a good start.
You feel that was a good start for him?
Like the way, and again, because Green Bay gets going, they're hard to stop.
Yeah.
You got a Pro Bowl quarterback, wide receiver, and running back. For that defense to come out and play angry the way they did, and then for them to control the game on offense the way they did. Again, I didn't expect them to run the ball 40 times. And it wasn't all Alvin Kamara. Kamara had half of it. He had 20 carries. But to utilize Taysom Hill, Jameis had some carries on some scrambles.
Right.
I was impressed with the job that Sean Payton did.
So do you think, before we go into the next matchup, do you think that the Saints, like what's your takeaway from the Saints?
I still think they finished 3rd in the division.
So you don't think even with this win that it's indicative of them having a better than expected season?
Nah, it's not going to catapult them to anything. Again, in the words of the great Aaron Rodgers, RELAX, relax. It's week 1. Aaron Rodgers, nobody played in the preseason, so this is essentially a preseason game. Mm-hmm. So. They came in overestimate or underestimated things a little bit, and they got smacked for it. And now they got that smell of salt. They'll wake up. They'll be fine.
Before we get into the next matchup, but going along those lines of thinking, do you think that the extra regular season game that we're going 17 games now instead of 16 gave a lot of teams in this first week, in their opinion? I don't know you can't speak to their opinion, but just watching how they played. But watching how they played, do you think that week 1 for a lot of these teams was their preseason game for their starters, knowing that it's like an extra game? Do you think that they took it that way, or do you think that maybe guys are just adjusting?
To a degree. Obviously, you prep during training camp for the regular season. Mm-hmm. So I'm definitely not coming out like nobody cared about it. So everybody wanted to win. But in essence, you are seeing your guys in live action for the first time, like right now. So I think a lot of coaches will use this week as to make adjustments to game plans going forward. Not obviously week to week they'll change depending on their opponent, but I think you get to see, like for us, Anthony Schwartz, he barely played in the preseason. Yeah. And then you come out week 1 and this dude's like the feature of the game plan. Right. Like, okay, so like the highlights of the preseason, I was telling you, we have a receiver, DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones. I was like, yo, he might be our number 3 receiver. Schwartz took that over. So it's like,
I don't know what the fuck Peoples-Jones was doing on that punt return where he was jostling with the dude.
That goes to the bonehead.
Like, why are you? Because I know it didn't work negatively for the Browns, but the fact that they had to do a whole review, like, what the fuck are you doing? Stop touching the ball. Right. Like, it's down. Why are you trying to? Yeah. To where it could have been a touchdown. Anyway.
Yeah, it goes to the bonehead that I was talking about. But
the lack of IQ is to how you can get replaced by a Schwartz. Like,
but again, you get to see, now they're getting to see in live action, okay, I can put this guy here. Maybe this guy isn't an X receiver. Maybe it's a slot. Maybe this guy isn't really H-back. He's more of a tight end. Maybe you can see where guys fit in more naturally. Right. And now you can go forward with your game plan. And so to a degree, but obviously you still want to come out with W. And unfortunately, the Packers didn't.
Right. So let's get into. We'll stay a little. Now we're gonna get into like the AFC, NFC.
Yeah.
Our first matchup cross division. It's a big matchup. For me, I wanted to talk about it this early into the list because I've been talking about it throughout a previous few games. And I felt like it was the measuring stick as to where I would put the LA Chargers. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the LA Chargers. Justin Herbert and the rest of that team, like what would they do? And you remember me saying, I'm like, my biggest thing was I wanted to see how the Chargers came out week 1. That was going to be because I had the Chargers as my number 11 team in my power rankings, just outside. But again, I'm like, this team can be fantastic. Yeah. But what was my caveat, my asterisk was I'm like, we going to see what they can do week 1 because they going to get that fucking test right out the gate. You going up against the number 2 defense from last season.
Right.
That, in my opinion, only got better. I know some people say they got. Well, I feel like they got better.
Yeah, you get experience. You get that front four, some experience. Obviously, it was Chase Young's rookie year last year. So now he's no.
And so with the Chargers managing with Justin Herbert, who had a stellar game, over 300 yards passing, like he was balling. What are your takes on the Chargers going into Washington against that defense and pulling out a 20-16 win?
I think it was more bad Washington football team than good Chargers.
So you're still not sold on the Chargers?
No, because I think the key play to this game was Gibson fumbling.
Yeah.
Gibson fumbled. They were down, what was it, 16-13. Mm-hmm. He fumbles, puts the Chargers in the red zone. They get the touchdown. No score after that. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't turn the ball over, I think the Washington goes down and gets at least a field goal. And I still don't think the Chargers score again after that. So it was like your defense was really about to hold you at bay. You just made a crucial mistake on offense, and that's going to be the thorn in the heel of Washington's season. Can your offense give your defense enough so that they can hold people down?
Can your offense give your defense a break?
Yeah, like it's similar to the Baltimore Ravens. Like Joe Flacco didn't have to play amazing, even though he did in the playoffs during the Super Bowl, but he didn't have to play amazing. Bro, give us 17 points, and we will hold. Give us 17 points. Don't make stupid mistakes. We got it. Washington football team to Fitzmagic, even though he got hurt, then you turn it over to Tanaka. Dude, just don't do anything stupid. Gibson, don't do anything stupid. We got this. And you that crucial turnover. Because again, there are no more points for the rest of the game for either team. So it's like they say 1 or 2 plays, or people say, oh, it's more than that because this game. No. If he doesn't fumble, I think that game ends 16-13.
Okay, so let's do some way too early predictions. Who do you think that this game was better for then? Like, who do you think has a better season after this game? Washington football team or the LA Chargers?
I think they're kind of even. I think they're right, and this is the Chargers are in a much tougher division. Let's call that what it is.
Wait, what? On camera,
Chargers are in a
the Chargers are in a tougher division. I mean, that's not really saying.
Football team are in the NFC East.
I mean, I'm not saying much about that, but it's still just
think about it.
It just makes me feel good.
But
I did have to think about it. Fuck off. I did have to think about it.
If they're like the Chargers have a solid defense, it ain't Washington's defense. Washington just has zero offense, and a big question
especially
for me.
When Fitz goes down.
Big question for me, and I'll pose it to you. It's coming out of this game. Fitzmagic goes down. Your coach is Ron Rivera. Who did Ron Rivera coach for all of his career except for 2 years? One Cam Newton.
So you think
who's a free agent? One Cam Newton.
So you're thinking that sometime this week Washington football team signs Cam Newton, or at least makes a play
I'll make
for
a
him?
call. You have to make a call.
You have to make a call?
Yeah, Fitzpatrick going on IR, so that's at least 8 games, 8-9 games.
You don't think that they should call like Tim Tebow?
Podcast is over.
I'm saying that because I'm looking at the two other teams that were coming up, and they're in the AFC East where Tebow was for a second. No, AFC South. Yeah. So I was like, moving away from Washington football team and the Chargers, because again, I think that the Chargers, like for me, quick wrap up on the segment. Sorry for the weird interlude. I think that the Chargers will be a really good team this year.
Yeah, I see them
I feel like
second in the division.
This was their biggest test, and I know that they have teams that they're going to play that are better overall throughout the course of the season. I don't see them facing other than, and again, I'll get into this, other than and I said this before, other than the Denver Broncos, I feel like they face the best defense they're going to see all season.
Hey, Pittsburgh. I'll throw Pittsburgh.
Okay, so Pittsburgh. So that's fair. That's completely fair. But the Denver Broncos, and again, I'll get into this later when we get to that game.
If we can get our...
Yeah, the Broncos. But what I'm saying is that the whole hope for the Broncos this season was away from Teddy Bridge in the offense. It was like, we got Von Miller back, we got Patrick Surtain, we got Justin Simmons, we got Bradley Chubb. Can the Broncos defense be on paper what the fuck they're supposed to be, which is a top 3, top 5 defense?
Right.
So the Chargers have to worry about the Broncos getting our shit together later. They had to start against a team that had their shit together, like on defense.
And again, like I said, if it wasn't for that turnover, you 13 points in week 1.
So you're not sold on the Chargers?
Nah, not yet.
Okay.
They get they just don't have enough, and then especially when your starting quarterback goes down, like you should finish off Hanky,
right?
Heineken.
I don't know.
Taylor
Hines. He was bagging groceries like 2 weeks ago. He's like on that Kurt Warner shit. Like,
and it's not like, and again, the Chargers are not slouches on defense either.
No,
they're solid. So it's like, yeah, you should finish off that game. If let's say they would have done that to a Buffalo, I might think a little bit differently.
Why is that?
Because Buffalo
didn't
have points.
Buffalo didn't have the number 2 defense in the league.
Yeah, but Buffalo
Washington
can come back
did
at you. Buffalo
okay.
They can put 40 on. Like once Fitzmagic goes out of the game, I'm not worried about you scoring anymore.
Yeah,
the threat of you scoring is gone. That's kind of like if Lamar Jackson gets hurt,
right.
I'm not worried about you scoring.
That's fair enough. I can agree with that. I do think it was a great step in the right direction for the Chargers.
Yeah.
But I'll take that. I'll take a step back and kind of see what happens next week. We have different opinions on both the Dolphins and the Patriots on where they'll finish up, but they played week 1 in a very close 1-point game. It was 17-16 on teams that when we went over our power rankings, I viewed both of them as trash. And I felt like they both look like trash. Like it's a 17-16 game in division, and you're not the Buffalo Bills. Like, I felt like the Miami Dolphins versus the Patriots game was exactly what two shit-ass teams in a shit-ass division having a shit-ass game. Excuse all my language. But it's like they're garbage. Like, that division is garbage. You win 17-16.
Yeah.
Like, and it's the Dolphins versus the Patriots. So I want to hear, because I don't like any team, and I know that I have to eat some crow about this later. I had the New York Jets, but I don't like any team from the AFC East. But I know that you had the Patriots making the fucking playoffs, and the Dolphins just outside. So now with the Patriots having a loss, not only on the record but in division, how do you feel about that Dolphins Patriots game?
That just came down to the Patriots just had one more turnover. essentially that was the game.
Fuck the turnover. Like, do you honestly, like, still after seeing that game, think that either one of these teams is a legitimate playoff team?
They're both competing for the playoffs. Like, why? Because they only scored.
How? So I'm gonna let you run this. How?
Like, no other team in history has ever scored 17 points or fewer and won a championship or made the playoffs.
I'm just asking you how. How can you look at the Patriots or the Dolphins in comparison to, I mean, we haven't even, we're not even halfway through the list.
You're looking at the wrong side of the ball.
We halfway through the AFC, but we're not halfway through the list of games. How can you look at the Patriots or Dolphins and think that either one of them is making the playoffs?
Yeah, this is the team that almost made the playoffs last year against a team that was until the last few weeks of the regular season competing for a playoff spot. This year, I think they'll both be competing for playoff spots. I'm starting to like Mac Jones. I'm starting to like listening to him speak after the game, looking at his behaviors during the game. Like, kid is like a robot. When he got drafted, he had that weird walk to the post, like he didn't even want to take his first game ball. Exactly, he's about business. Like, no, bro, what are you doing? Like, this is a game. Let's focus. Like, I kind of like his attitude, and I think you're looking at the wrong side of the ball. You're looking at it as this a bad. No, it was good defensive football, which your two head coaches are known for defensive football.
Okay,
so Flores is an amazing coach. I think he's one of the next brightest coaches in the league. Belichick is what he is. This is really the first disciple of his that's actually worthy of going like toe to toe. The rest of the guys, McDaniels left. He tried. He failed. A few other Vrabel, he's kind of doing his things down in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, Flores is looking like he's going to be the most successful disciple of Bill Belichick. And they're in the same division, so they have some battles. Tua, I'm still not sold on Tua. Mm-hmm. I didn't think he had a great game. Thought Mac Jones outplayed him. Again, you just had one extra turnover. Yeah. Take away that turnover, I think the Patriots flipped that score. But it was definitely a defense. I like defensive games. So
well, if you like defensive games, then let's talk about a defense that I feel did not show up, or maybe
we already talked about the Packers.
No, shit. I was going to say a defense that's expected to be great, that if you look at the stat line was terrible. What are your thoughts on what should have been a great defense from the Chicago Bears losing 14-34 to the LA Rams? Is that more on the guy that you're sold on? Because we've been talking about it for episodes and weeks about you being sold on Matthew Stafford with the LA Rams and him having that offense. Were you more impressed with Matthew Stafford and that offense? Or were you more disappointed in Chicago's defense?
I was more disappointed in Nagy, period.
Oh.
He needs to.
So you're just going at the coach just.
Yes, bro. Like, you're not used to facing the Rams. I get that.
Yeah.
You are used to facing Matthew Stafford. He just came from your division.
Literally, yeah.
You know the scouting report on him. You know, if you don't know anything about the Rams roster, you know what the quarterback likes to do.
You know his tendencies. He's only been in the league for fucking 10 years.
Right.
Like,
and Sean McVay is a good
12
coach.
years, 13 years. Who, correct me if I'm wrong. Who cares?
Right. And Sean McVay is a good coach. What do good coaches do? Play to their players' strengths, to which you should know what that is. And the whole game, he's just chipping away to wide open guys underneath. And then play action, throw it deep. Like, they literally just did the same thing all game.
or how about Matthew Stafford being the first quarterback on a new team to have 2 50-yard plus touchdown passes? And they were wide. We watched that game. They were wide. Exactly. For people at home that are listening to this that did not get a chance to watch the LA Rams game, these dudes were wide the fuck. Like, anybody watching this or listening to this podcast or that like sports, y'all could have made these passes.
Yeah, I could have threw that ball.
I'm not shitting on Matthew Stafford, but literally one of the commentators talked about it because you could see it on the replay. Matthew Stafford's eyes got bigger than was it Diana or Teresa Ella Ross? Like, dude, his eyes got as big as his head because he was like, he cannot be this open. Yeah. And then it's just pitch and catch.
Then again, I can't it's just it was horrible coaching because you pointed on this earlier, like your next man up of the week went off.
Dude,
run the ball like
David Montgomery.
Feed me
and he was fucking eating. And it 16 carries, 106 yards. Why is he not at 30 carries?
Right, the game didn't get away from them until the end. Mm-hmm. Like they could have kept that game within striking distance, and then you're doing the whole college thing. You're bringing in just either let Justin Fields play or sit him on the bench. But bro,
so you hated the dual quarterback.
I hate that because it never works out.
I'm so thankful that he said that because we're gonna talk about that again. We're gonna circle all the way back to this shit. But yeah, I hated that too.
Never works out.
I told you before the game started. Before the game started, I'm like, yo, just go Justin Fields.
Yeah, either let him play or sit him down. I don't have a problem with whatever
either or,
but just do one.
Because I appreciate it, backtracking very, very slightly. What the Packers did was like, yeah, we have Jordan Love. Yeah. But we did all this shit to get Aaron Rodgers. Right. And they played Aaron Rodgers until the 11.
The game was out of hand.
Yeah, until it was fucking 30, 31-3. Yeah. Then it's like, all right, we're going to put Jordan Love in for the rest of the game. It's like, if they'd done that, okay.
I absolutely get that. Like, okay, the game's out of hand. Let's get you some reps. But no, you can't flip-flop in the middle. Like, you change the complexion of your offense. You give away so many signals. Okay, when he comes in, there's going to be some kind of RPO. Like, granted, he completed his pass.
So, are you more? Which team are you leaning more towards being appreciative of? The LA Rams for their game plan, or the Chicago Bears?
The Bears just disgust me.
So okay, so that's fair. Are the LA Rams?
The team is just the coaching.
Let me get away from the Chicago Bears. Fuck them. That was a bad transition. Do you think that the LA Rams are going on stride with where because you've been very high on the LA Rams? Yeah. Do you think that this was indicative of what you think that they can do? Like, was this a good game for how you have viewed the potential for the LA Rams? Like, do you think that did they live up to the potential? Did they at least come close, or are they not even?
Partially. They lived up to what they can be offensively. They showed a chink defensively, and that concerns me. Our team's now just because they ran right at Aaron Donald all game.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Our team's not going to do, okay, forget trying to go around the guy, because if we try and go around him, he makes the play anyway.
Yeah.
Just go straight at him and live with the results. Like, and there are teams in the NFC that can do that. Like San Francisco, they do running back by committee, but they're going to come at you. Seattle can pound the ball with Chris Carson. Our team's just not going to be afraid. Not in division, but the Vikings, Dalvin Cook, like, there are guys in the NFC capable of just going at you. Our team's now going to just be like, fuck it, we're just running straight at Aaron Donald. Are they going to take that note out of the Bears book and just go right at him? That'll open up play action.
I think that'd be a fucking mistake. I hope teams do that.
Is it? If I would have told you before that game started, the Bears are going to run right at Aaron Donald, how many yards do you think David Montgomery would have predicted him to have? We're going right into the beast. 70,
because the LA Rams haven't given up a 100-yard rusher in 2 years.
Right.
Until yesterday.
Exactly. So, I mean, Nagy could have been on some evil genius stuff, but then with the rest of his game plan, he just
all right. So
tricked it off.
So with the Rams jumping out to a 1-0 lead in what everybody has considered the best division in the NFL, especially coming into the season, but even last season, the NFC West is a beast. Like, if you get through that shit, that's a gauntlet.
Yeah, they're all undefeated.
So the Rams won. Yeah, they all won. The Rams won, the Cardinals won, the Niners won, the Seahawks won. But let's get on to the Seahawks. So, I mean, we got, because obviously we have to talk about the Seahawks because they get out to these great starts and they have Russell Wilson, who's always an MVP candidate, and he played the same fucking way he always does. Like, you know, like, I'm going to come out and scorch the earth. Yeah. Do you have a different opinion on the Seahawks, or do you feel like they did exactly what they needed to do, and the jury's still out on what they're going to be?
The Seahawks just played football. They didn't show me anything I didn't expect.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Like, Russell Wilson only threw 5 incompletions, 250 yards, 4 touchdowns. Chris Carson almost ran for 100. Tyler Lockett had 100 received. Like, they
did what they were supposed to.
Exactly. Yeah. The Colts are a decent football team. They're just not on the same level as the Seahawks.
So I know that both of us had them in like our top 15 for the Colts, but I feel like
that's a level separation.
Yeah, it's you're seeing for people listening in or watching in, you're seeing why we had the Colts where we had them. Yeah. It's like when you're going up against these elite teams like Seattle, you need a Carson Wentz. You need an offense that can actually try to keep pace.
And I mean, he didn't play terrible.
No, I'm not saying that, but he's not Russell Wilson.
Exactly. That's just all it is.
That's why I can't be higher on the Indianapolis Colts, but my shock of the weekend. This is honestly my shock of the weekend. Of all the picks I got wrong, because I got a lot right, but of the ones I got wrong, the one I absolutely did not think I was ever going to get wrong was the fucking Arizona Cardinals versus the Tennessee Titans. You have the Arizona Cardinals coming in with basically a whole new roster. Like, it's DeAndre Hopkins' first game. It's J.J. Watt's first game. Kyler Murray's only in the second. See, like, it's all of these things. And you have the Tennessee Titans, who have Ryan Tannehill, and you have Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown. You have this defense. Julio making his debut. This is a team that is a play away from the AFC Championship.
True.
And they got their fucking ass handed to them. Excuse my language, people, but 38-13. God damn. Like, I think Derrick Henry had like 40 yards rushing.
58.
58? Yeah. 58! Like, either way, it was not. Derrick Henry didn't stiff arm anybody.
Yeah.
I didn't have any memes to look at today on Instagram about Derrick Henry shit whipping somebody to the ground. That upsets me. Yeah. But Arizona, like, I want to hear your opinion. I need to hear your opinion on Arizona because this is the game that shocked me the most.
Yeah, this game kind of reminded me of last season when the Browns played the Titans. Me as a fan, I looked at it as a measuring stick game. Okay, Titans were in the playoffs last season. They're favored to win their division this year. Let's see how we stack up against a solid team. And I think at halftime it was 38. It was like 38-7. But it's kind of the same thing. My thing with Tennessee, even in the power rankings, is like, did their defense improve enough? Because when you can hold Derrick Henry in check and they can't stop anybody, like that's a problem. That's what happened against us. This game kind of played out the exact same way. Can't get Derrick Henry going, and our defense can't stop. Stop the nosebleed. Like, you're gonna get run out of the building.
So are you more hype on Arizona's team or Tennessee's defense? Like, who do you think is more for credit? Like, who deserves more credit for the results of Sunday? Arizona's team or Tennessee's
lack of defense? I gotta give credit to the Cardinals because there's one thing for Tennessee to be bad defensively. And it's another thing for you to go out and expose how bad they are defensively. Right. And they did that. So you can't take, Kyler Murray, the one play where he just like ran 190 yards from one side to the other and then hit Diop. Like, you can't let that happen. Right. So it's like, Tennessee definitely got exposed. Yeah. They need to be on the phone right now looking for any defender who got waived in the preseason or make any kind of trade that they can, because if their defense continues to play like this, bro, it's going to be a super long year. Super long year. You gave up 6 yards per play.
That's a lot.
400 total yards. And I mean, the combo of running, like, it wasn't outstanding either way. It was like pretty balanced. Like 280 passing, 136. Like, you can't do that. Like, and that's Arizona. They're a pass happy team. Ran the ball for 136 yards on you.
Yeah. I feel like the Tennessee Titans looked bad. Just top to bottom. And I had the Tennessee Titans winning the game handily. Yeah. Like, I thought the Titans would blow the Cardinals out. Yeah. And in watching the game and kind of seeing how it played out, I was shocked. Yeah. I was shocked at not only the play calling, the timing of the plays, like the situational play calling. Like there were numerous like third down plays where I'm like, why is that the play that you picked? Yeah. Like, that's not going to get you in the field goal range. That's not going to get you, like, it was bad play calling, right. Like top to bottom watching the Tennessee Titans. And I'm like, it's where for me,
their defense got out. Arizona's defense got after it. Jesus.
Oh, absolutely. For me, all I'm going to say on this is that I think Arizona impressed me in that they might be better than I think. I still don't think that they make the playoffs. I still think that they're a bad team, but they might be a surprise team.
I can get that.
The Tennessee Titans disappointed me. Yeah. I'm not going to move them out of my power rankings. I'm not going to change their position. I still think that the Tennessee Titans are one of the best teams in the NFL, hands down. But they fucked up. Yeah.
Like, and for them, it doesn't get either. I mean, they play Seattle next week.
Yeah, like so. they needed this win. Agreeing with, like, they needed this win. So losing this game, I feel, is going to be problematic for the Titans moving forward for what, again, I think is a good team. I think the Titans are one of the best teams in the AFC. Losing this game is going to be a problem. I still think that they make the playoffs because they're in the AFC South.
Their division.
But
they could open a window for the Colts.
Yeah, this is a bad loss. It's a really bad loss. Let's go into I don't want to go too far into this. I don't want to spend too much time on it. I know that we got a lot of people from the Bay Area that are listening in, so I'm not gonna shit on the team. Let's talk about the Niners and the Lions.
Let's talk about the Niners. The Lions don't have a football team.
The Lions are garbage.
Detroit does not have a football. Everybody in Detroit needs to be honorary Browns fans this season. Are
you upset as I'm upset with how the Niners closed out that game?
No, because it's indicative.
Because it was 38-10.
Yeah,
and then the game finished 41-33.
Yeah, but it's indicative. So
you gave up NFL. A 23-3, second half. Yeah. Like that to me is problematic. Again, I've been high on the Niners since episode 1. I've been telling you that's my dark horse team. That if they're healthy and they have their shit running, they get out to fucking 38-10 leads. That's a blowout. Like, they're blowing teams out, but then the game finishes 41-33. Yeah. And it's like, so what are your takeaways from that?
Two things. It's pretty indicative of today's NFL. Just as I was telling you about the Browns-Titans games last year. Yeah, we jumped out. We were up 31-7 at halftime. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that game ended like 45-38. And same thing, like we played Pittsburgh in the playoffs. That game was 35-7 at halftime, and we win 45. So it's like, and especially with the 49ers, you lost your lead back, so you lose Raheem Mostert. So part of that running back by committee goes down. So I'm not too worried about it. I don't think they were ever worried about losing the game. It was just one of those things where you get complacent, the other team comes back, but the clock runs out. But I think, had they needed to take control of the game again, like, they would have been able to do it, no problem.
So, I mean, the Lions are probably going to be a bad team this season, but the Niners are the question mark.
Right.
So, with even if the Lions came back at the end, ignoring that, knowing that they're not going to win a lot of games, but the Niners are in the conversation, how do you feel about their start to that game? Like, do you think the Niners have enough to try to make a legitimate push to win the NFC West?
No. I
Still
think right now I'm probably flip flop. Well,
it's still Rams, Seahawks.
Yeah. So, and
that hasn't changed.
Looking at the two games yesterday,
that hasn't changed.
I'd still give the edge to the Cardinals, so I put them in third. So no, it hasn't changed.
Okay. So let's go to the game of the week, so to speak. The New York Jets versus the Carolina Panthers. These are both of our dark horse teams.
Playoff Panthers.
Fuck off. No, they're not making the playoffs. But both of our dark horse teams. The teams that nobody in the world has picking in the playoffs, but we think might have a chance. What do you think about the 19-4 Carolina Panther win over the New York Jets?
I think it was awesome.
Fuck off.
I told you, man. Sam Darnold was gonna go into that building with something to prove. You guys turn your back on me and then go out and get all this talent because you think this guy's the next. You never surrounded me with any talent, and you think I'm gonna be terrible. Okay, let me show you something.
Sam Darnold balled the fuck out. Hey, he balled out. He balled out.
Yeah, he played a great game, of course, and like I said, he had CMC backing him up.
He was at what, like 336 passing yards, something like that?
279.
279?
50-yarder to Robbie Anderson, former Jet.
Oh, yeah.
So this was just like a big revenge game. And like I say, the team's going to rally behind those two guys going into that building. And again, who do you got backing you up? CMC, who had a fantastic game.
I'm gonna move on personally. Like I'm gonna move on from this particular matchup because Zach Wilson had me.
The game.
Shut up. Yeah, me so upset. I don't care what his numbers were at the end of the game. He was shit for like 4 quarters. So I still believe that Zach Wilson and the Jets will be a great team to watch. I hope. Because God damn it, that made me look bad. I mean, let's talk briefly. Let's talk briefly about Philly and Atlanta. Obviously, Philly. Atlanta's in a huge rebuild. Philly is as well, but I mean, two rebuilding teams. Along. Yeah, 2 rebuilding teams. You're not expecting to see a 32-6 blowout. And Jalen Hurts was going off. And I know that you tend to be a bit more of a fan than Jalen Hurts. So what do you think about the Eagles? Do you think that this win could put them in the conversation to maybe take the NFC East?
I mean, or do you think it's still too early? Because it's a bad division, if not still give the edge to the Cowboys.
I was like, fuck you. I know that. I know it's a bad division. I'm just asking, do you think that the Eagles, because the Cowboys lost.
I'm in a good position to win the NFC
Cowboys
right
lost, the Washington football team lost, the Giants lost. The only team from the NFC East to win was the Eagles.
Yeah, but look who they played. They're the only team that played a team that was worse than them. And shout out Ron the Don. I know you're watching. Huge Falcons fan. He wants me to show some love to his Falcons, so here you go.
Michael Vick was dope.
Yeah,
you feel better?
Was dope.
Do you feel better? Okay, let's move on.
They're in a rebuild. They're in a rebuild. It's just not going to be a good football year for the Falcons. Like I said,
wait, hold on. You had a friend that wants us to talk positively about the Falcons?
Yeah.
Hey, 28-3 in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, like
I will never
recover from that moment.
I will never, ever, ever, until they beat somebody by an equal amount, forgive the Falcons for blowing a 25-point lead at halftime.
Again, like the franchise just has not recovered from that moment.
Because how can you? You blew a 25-point halftime lead.
But you still got Matt Ryan putting in work. I will. Kyle Pitts did. I was impressed with him. He is going to be a player. He's going to be something to deal with.
Oh, Kyle Pitts is
he's going to be a problem.
As we were watching the games, I'm offended that they call him a tight end. He's literally just, and I'm not saying this negatively, he's a slow wide receiver. But but for people that understand football, you know what I'm saying. He's either, you have to take either or. He's a fast tight end or a slow wide receiver.
Yeah, but he's going to be a problem.
He's a slow wide receiver because they line him up at tight end, which is a problem. because he's significantly faster than and taller and better hands than any linebacker lining up with him.
Yeah.
But he's built like a wide receiver. Yeah. But you can't put him on Jalen Ramsey.
You can't put it because he's stronger.
He ain't getting the catch. But
Jalen might have a difficult time with this game.
Jalen Ramsey went the fuck off.
He did. He'd have a hard time.
He was on like every play on Sunday night. Like it was like annoying that Jalen Ramsey, because they kept talking about the 99 Club.
Oh yeah.
And he was proving it. Yeah, it was like every play he was tackling somebody. Every play he was him and Aaron Donald, because they were talking shit about Aaron Donald, and he finished the game with a sack and a half, and it was like,
yeah. But no,
all right, so let's
struggle with Pitts, but that's small enough for the foul. Pitts is going to be a problem. Him and Calvin Ridley growing together once they figure out their quarterback situation beyond Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
That's going to be a deadly combination.
Let's go into the North all the way. We are the North, right? Let's go with that Minnesota Cincinnati. It's the AFC North versus the NFC North.
Quality game.
Was it though?
Yeah.
Like no, it was, but it was that anybody expecting that Minnesota with that Vikings defense going up against Joe Burrow, coming off an injury, Jamar Chase coming off and not being able to catch the fucking ball. Like
I told everybody though.
So what are your takeaways from the Minnesota Cincinnati game? Because as you said, you told everybody, and this is your division. So I'm honestly more curious as a fan what your opinions are about Minnesota. This is the North. This is your shit. I'm a West Coast dude. You from the North. So
it's kind of just what I expected. Like the Bengals.
Tell me about that cold.
The Bengals are they're not a playoff team. They're rebuilding, obviously, but they are ahead of teams like the Texans, the Jaguars, the Falcons.
Right.
They're a few steps above, and they have a foundation. You got Joe Mixon, you got Joe Burrow, you got Jamar Chase now. They actually picked up some decent free agents. They picked up the best pass rusher and defensive end. Like they have a foundation, they have a direction. So they're going to be a competitive football team, and they can beat a team like Minnesota, who I think is like a fringe playoff team. Can they consistently do it? I don't think so, but they just caught Minnesota at the right time. Like
so are you more impressed with Cincinnati or disappointed in Minnesota? Because I'm fucking disappointed in Minnesota.
Kind of neither. If this game was in like week 9, like Minnesota would win. But again, like for where Cincinnati is in their process, and like where the Vikings are as a team, they just caught them at the right time.
That's where we're gonna have to we're gonna argue, so to speak. Is that like no. Fuck Cincinnati. Excuse my language. It's like, no, the Vikings should have won this game going away.
Going away?
Going away. Like because I have to look at the Vikings franchise.
Okay.
And look at them and be like, what is your goal? With the guys that you have in place.
Right.
You have a top 3, top 5 at worst defense. And I'm saying at worst, quote unquote. And that you have a top 5 defense.
We don't give them that much credit.
They finished 4th last year in defense in the NFL.
Yeah, but still.
So you don't want to give them credit, but
I wouldn't give them that much credit.
But these are facts. These are stats. Like
this is also a new season.
I know it's a new season, so where I know that there's that nuance. Yeah. But coming into week 1, this is a team, the Minnesota Vikings, that had a 4th place defense last year. 4th on the top side, not on the negative side. Like we're 4th best.
Okay.
And then we also have Dalvin Cook. We also have Kirk Cousins. We also have Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we're playing a team that we should beat the shit out of.
But no, you shouldn't. Because flip your coin.
Because it's Cincinnati.
You're giving the Vikings, but you're giving the Vikings all that credence from last season. Last season, the Cincinnati Bengals played in very competitive games up until when Joe Burrow got hurt.
Yeah, but so Joe Burrow got hurt like week 7.
Like, yeah, nobody ran them out of the building. Like they can play with people.
I'm not shitting on the Bengals, but I'm saying that like it sounds like I'm shitting on the Bengals. I'm more asking because it's in division for you.
Yeah,
I'm like, the Vikings should have won this game handily. Like, they should have won the game going away.
Yeah, who were one of the teams? Who's one of the teams that gave the Pittsburgh Steelers one of their first losses? Or the second loss? The Cincinnati Bengals. Like, they can play. They have it. Again, they're rebuilding, but they're ahead of a few other teams that are rebuilding. They have a foundation. They know what direction they're going. Now they're working on being competitive, so they can play with some teams.
So who do you think
if you're coming to Cincinnati on the wrong Sunday, you're gonna leave with that L.
So who do you think finishes with a better record then? The Minnesota Vikings.
Again, I think they caught them at the right time.
Yeah,
like Minnesota, Kirk Cousins is the type of guy. He's never lit it up right out of the gate. He needs to get going. He's a rhythm guy. Again, no preseason. He's got to get going. If they play this game again in week 9, Minnesota wins it. But Cincinnati is right place, right time.
All right, so we're down to the last 2 games of the week. Not necessarily in order, but we down to the last 2 games. And we save the best for last, so to speak. The best, the very last ain't the best, but now we gonna get into, and we gonna keep it brief. I'm gonna keep it brief because I've heard some comments. So I'm gonna keep it brief because I don't need to talk long-windedly as I'm known to do about this right now because this is gonna be a point I need to prove in week 8. But let's go ahead and start the slate now. The Denver Broncos versus the New York Giants in New York. And we run them the fuck out the building.
I wouldn't say run them out the building.
It was 27-7. The final score was 27-13 because Daniel Jones ran in a literal useless touchdown with 1 second left. When it was 27-7, he ran in a touchdown. It was so useless they weren't allowed to attempt at an extra point.
They have the option to deny.
There was no point in doing it. This is what I'm saying. Fuck your option. There was no point. You're down 27-7. This makes it 27-13. There's no point. So the Broncos won 27-13. I'm not gonna let you shit on my team.
I'm not. Shit.
Because what I'm gonna say right now, because I don't want to talk about it too much, because I've heard some feedback that we talk about the Broncos too much. But I'm gonna let y'all know. I'm gonna make brief statements. I made my case. I made my case for the Broncos in the preseason. I'm telling y'all, we're gonna win 12 games at minimum. We're gonna make the playoffs. This is the first one of those. Teddy Bridgewater came out, played exactly the game I hoped that he would play. Okay. He was 28 for 34 or 26 for 34. Only missed 8 passes, 2 touchdowns. Game manager, ran the game. Made sure that everything went exactly how it was supposed to. Our defense was fantastic. Von Miller had 1.5 sacks in his first full season back. This is without Bradley Chubb. Our defense shut down their offense. I'm not going to get too far into it, but the Broncos did exactly what I hoped that they would do. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but
you have 0 concerns.
I have 0 concerns.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to talk about the Broncos? I don't want to talk about them. I don't want to offend anybody.
Well, I'm sorry. It doesn't concern you that Sterling Shepard kind of got his junk off.
No, because I watched how he got it off.
He got it off by running through cats.
He ran through, and this
we watched him run through.
This was my problem. Was he had the big play.
Yeah,
but overall, again, he had, that was their only option. The rest of their options were shut down.
Right, because Saquon was limited. So
yeah, Saquon was limited. Their other wide receivers were we did what we needed to do. Cool dude went off. But it was, again, when I watched the Broncos play, it was the same thing I've been saying for months. I'm like, we need Teddy Bridge. I said it before, during our power rankings. I'm like, if we have Teddy Bridge, we win 12 games because he's a good game manager. Yeah. He's not going to overextend himself. He's not going to do too much. He's not going to play hero ball. And that's exactly what he did. He only missed 8 passes. He had 262 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ran the game exactly how he was supposed to. Our defense played without Bradley Chubb as we were supposed to. The Denver Broncos showed out. I know it's against the New York Giants. I know that that's an easy test. But as we talked about in my power rankings, is that fuck it. That's the whole point. We play Jacksonville next week.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get these easy wins as a Broncos fan. It's like we should beat the Giants. We should beat the Jags. So since we did what we were supposed to do, we don't need to talk about the Broncos more. As much as I would fucking love to. We don't need the Broncos did what they needed to do. The Broncos did what they needed to do, and against a team that they were supposed to do it on. I'll holler at y'all week 8 when the Broncos are doing better. I don't need to talk about the Broncos week 1.
Okay, I'll drop it.
So let's talk. Hold on. Fuck the Broncos. We don't know. I don't want to.
Hold on. Like,
go ahead.
Opinion on the game.
You have 100% right. My bad. I just didn't. I didn't want to spend too much time on the Broncos because we're done.
No, great. They played a decent game. Again, it was the Giants. It was a tougher game.
It was a game we were supposed to win, and we won it.
Not necessarily because it's a tougher game than most because you're traveling to the East Coast. That is tough. It's so a little bit tougher than people would give it credit for. The takeaways is run defense played very well. The run defense was excellent.
Yeah.
Held them to, I think, 60 yards rushing in the game.
Yeah.
2 areas I would be concerned about going forward. I would be concerned about letting Sterling Shepard go off because just like you said, he was the only player they had. You're in a division where you got
fucking Chiefs.
Again, you got Tyreek Hill,
Travis Kelce. You don't have to say any other team, just the fucking Chiefs.
You got Henry Ruggs. You got Darren Waller. You got Keenan Allen. Like you get the chart in there. So this year you guys match up against our division. So you got Odell and Juice coming to town. You got Lamar.
Juju.
Right. So that concerns us. Like when this is the only person you have to stop. And that's it, and you still kind of let that. There's a hole somewhere. So,
but even at that, it was 27-7 until like the literal final drive.
But he didn't rack up those yards on the final drive. He racked those yards up consistently throughout the game.
No, he didn't, and that's the thing. It's like he didn't. He racked up a lot of those yards in that final drive. Like that's even where. I'm not taking nothing away from the Giants. It was a great game. Like it was a close game. And the Broncos, like my Denver Broncos, we controlled the game in a way that I feel like very few teams have controlled an NFL game, and that we had the ball for 40 minutes,
right?
And they had the ball for 20.
Yeah.
But it's that what I was saying. I'm like when I was telling you in the power rankings, I'm like we need Teddy Bridge because he's a game manager. Like he knows how to like waste that clock and run the right plays and hold the game down. And where even if we're only up 10-7, like the Ravens or these other teams, it's like, yo, we up 10-7, that's a win.
Right.
Like, because I'm not going to let you get the ball back.
Other area of concern, the Giants, they converted 50% on third down. Third down defense is supremely important, especially in your division.
Well, as I said,
two areas to look out for going forward.
I'm gonna leave
zero concerns.
I'm gonna leave the talk. I'm gonna leave the talk off the Broncos right now because I spent enough time in the first few episodes letting y'all know the Broncos are gonna be a problem. So I don't need to spend more time on it now. Y'all just gonna watch and see that I know what the fuck I'm talking about. So let's talk about the final game of week 1, which I hate this coming this late, but it was arguably the most goddamn ridiculous. Was the Baltimore Ravens versus the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
And it's like the storylines leading into this game were already ridiculous. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was already ridiculous, and it's the Vegas Raiders first game at the new stadium with people, fans. Yeah. It's like, how was the NFL gonna get properly introduced?
Showtime atmosphere.
Properly introduced to Vegas. Like, what's up? How y'all doing, Vegas? How you doing? Like, how you gonna get properly introduced to Vegas in our culture? So now we got that game, and it's with the Baltimore Ravens and the stud Lamar Jackson minus his 3 starting running backs, up against this Vegas Raiders team, also in division. That was a hell of a game.
Yeah, it was a decent game.
It was a hell of a game,
but I think Baltimore lost it more than Vegas won it.
Baltimore lost it more than Vegas won it.
Yeah.
So I'll let you. We're gonna go with that thought because I have to. I want to go with that thought because I have to. I have to give my side of a bet. I made a bet I made a bet with a subscriber, a fan of the podcast, a friend of mine, Jimmy. He's a diehard, lifelong Raiders fan that was hitting me up on my power rankings, on my preseason predictions, and he was talking shit. He was talking big shit, as all Raiders fans do. And he was like, "You don't think that my Raiders gonna win week 1? We gonna beat the Ravens." That was his prediction. That was before. To credit to Jimmy, that was before any injury. He was so offended. So offended by where we had the Raiders that he made a bet with me. A bet that I lost. So I, as a man, I'll admit that I lost the bet. I had the Ravens winning. He had the Raiders winning. And the Las Vegas Raiders came out and pulled a win at the end. I will happily honor my side of the bet. One side is for me and him. The other side is a shout out, as I'm doing right now, to him, to Jimmy and his fucking Vegas Raiders. Congratulations, y'all won. Y'all made me look stupid. I didn't think that y'all was winning the game. I tried to hedge my bet, so to speak, and be like, yo, I think that they'll win. Because when they lost all them people, when the Ravens lost, they're literally 1, 2, and 3 starting running back. That's why on the last episode, I was like, I wasn't hedging my bet. I'm like, I know I'm going to lose it. But the Ravens gave a hell of a good show. It went to overtime, but the Raiders pulled it out. So shout out to my boy Jimmy. Congratulations on the Raiders getting their first win of the season. You won the bet. Shit. I don't really know where to go from here, so I'm going to let you take over. Because I wasn't expecting to lose this bet. Yeah.
That's just all you can say. Baltimore blew the game.
So you think Baltimore? So I got some redemption.
Absolutely. You take the ball down there. They do what they're supposed to do. Lamar leads them down to get the field goal to put them up. I would expect my defense to be able to hold a team in 30 seconds with 0 timeouts out of field goal range. Yeah. They didn't do that. They let them get back in field goal range. They tied the game. Then you go to OT. Lamar fumbles.
After a Derek Carr interception in the end zone.
Right.
To where it's like it should have been Baltimore winning. Right. Because Derek Carr throws an interception in the end zone on their first possession of overtime. Right. And then you come back down with Lamar Jackson, you're in field goal range, and he fucking fumbles.
Yeah, so it's like, but even without overtime standing, like I said, it shouldn't have got there in the first place. Your defense should be able to hold a team with 30 seconds left and no timeouts out of field goal range.
Right. So where do you think, let's take both of those teams.
Yeah.
Because now you got the AFC North that seems more competitive than I think people would have thought that it would be.
I don't see how it was best division in the league last year. Only division with 3 playoff teams.
I guess I was just more looking at the offseason moves. So let's say that the AFC North stays the same as arguably the number 1, number 2 division with the NFC West.
Second, yeah. I would give that to NFC West this year.
What do you think that the impact is of, both on the AFC West, with the fact that that's the only division in football that every single team won? Which is the argument of, like, what's the better division? Every team in the AFC West won.
Yeah, 49ers had a bye week, though.
Chargers won, Raiders won, Chiefs won, Broncos won. So what do you think is the implication for the rest of the league about the fact that the Baltimore Ravens lost?
Nothing.
So your power rankings, your opinions haven't really changed that much on League One. Good. Good. Like, that's what I like.
It's one game.
So we're not overreacting.
No, not at all. Like, again, Baltimore gave the game away. Like, if they do what they're supposed to do on defense and they hold, like we're talking about a completely different result, you're happy you won your bet now instead. But
I lost my bet. I'm not happy.
I'm saying,
had
they done their job.
You're right. You're right. If they done their job, I'd be happy.
But they let
them. I'm mad right now.
Right, but they let them get freaking 45 yards in 2 plays to kick a 50-yard field goal. Like, if they guarantee week 9, if they play this game again, it's Baltimore's minus is not only their running backs, their 2 really starting receivers are out. So, definitely not overreacting. They're still a better team than the Raiders. It took the Raiders playing their best and overtime.
And the
and
Ravens
us messing up.
And the
Ravens. Us losing, not a Ravens fan, but I'm just saying.
And AFC North. And the Ravens not. It took the best that the Raiders had, and the Ravens missing
Ravens
numerous pieces.
Who made a ton of mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's what it. So
you think it's more of the the Baltimore Ravens losing the game than the Las Vegas Raiders winning the game?
Yeah. Because that game was 14-0. It looked like it was about to be a runaway. Lamar's getting off. He's running. He had like 3 runs that were just like stupid. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely not overreacting to that. Not overreacting to the Packers losing. Like, again, a lot of emotion in that game that could have went either way. The Saints used that energy in a positive way. But week 10, if they played again, I don't think you get that same result.
All right, well, that's been our analysis for the week 1. That's our recap.
Yes, sir.
So, obviously, we have Thursday Night Football coming up for week 2, kicking it off with the New York Giants and the Washington Football Team. Quick take, who we got?
All right, got to go with the Giants, man. Washington, you lost your starting quarterback, so you got your backup preparing on a short week. That's a tough spot, so I got to take the Giants. Backup.
Yeah, so I got to be right there with you, man. I think it's going to be the Giants. I mean, the Washington Football Team has that great defense, but I just think, they have no offense right now that they can count on.
Right.
So, I mean, I got to agree with you. I think that's how, we can start off week 2 with a Giants prediction. Obviously, y'all can go back through this episode and see where our predictions were for week 1. We're going to have more coming out on Friday for week 2. Who we think is going to be what. We're super excited. If week 2 is anything like week 1, we're going to have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun this season.
Except this week, the Browns can win.
Yeah, the Browns can win this week. The Broncos going to do what we do. I'm gonna reserve myself on what I got to say about them until later times. So I told you so. But wherever y'all are hearing us at right now, whether it's YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, Google, please know that we have new episodes coming out every Tuesday and every Friday. Please hit that like, subscribe button, especially because you'll get automatic notifications once the videos and the pods are ready. Once you have that audio ready, it won't even be that you have to pay attention to the clock. You'll just get a quick little, notification. So please turn on those notifications. We thank y'all for tuning in. My name is Shaka. This is my man Bobby G. Episode 6 of Next Man Up Sports Podcast. Looking forward to hearing y'all on episode 7. Y'all take care. Get them out of here.